Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And that must mean that I am Professor Robert E.G. Black, and this is the Groundhog Day Project.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
It's a thing where the same day keeps happening.
Time.
I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd.
The last revision is what counts, apparently.
We are on minute 73 of Groundhog Day. Rita is at Phil's room for the second time in the film. We are on the 28th iteration of February 2nd, or technically, I guess now, we're into the next morning. So we're on February 3rd, but we're still in the loop. The 28th iteration of the loop. Because it is 3 in the morning, right? Well, it is once we get the cut. First we have Rita. She has backed sort of into the other half of the room. Out of the bedroom, perhaps. It seems like she's over closer to where the couch is. Phil has just asked last minute if she's going to leave. And before she responds, I would point out, because I pointed out all the dogs when they were watching Jeopardy, that there are a lot of dogs around the Cherry Street Inn. There's a few around Phil's bedroom. If you look to the left side of the screen, behind Rita, there is a dog statue by that lamp over there. Looks like a Cocker Spaniel, perhaps. She says, well, no. He says, good. She says, okay. So then we cut. And she's falling asleep. He's got a book. It is 3:02 according to the alarm clock on the table. The book, Poems for Every Mood. I own a copy of this book. I believe I specifically bought a green cover copy just so it matched exactly. But even before I owned the book, I found out online, I'll explain the goof. If you listen to the show, you know I hate the IMDb goofs page. But this would actually be a good one. A legitimate one to put on there. But I'll get to it as we get to it. She's falling asleep. He's reading. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, it's all right. You can fall asleep. I promise I won't touch you much. Which is an inappropriate humor from him. But also it might be a test. How does she react to his inappropriate humor? I don't think he means it. He's making a joke, which is good. I think when he, like his pelvic floor line, way back when they first got to Punxsutawney, I think he meant that one as a come on. I don't think he means this one as a come on. He's trying to be funny. It's just his sense of humor is still flawed. And she's like, that's all right. I'm not tired. What were you saying? And he kind of opens the book a bit and he's like, I think the last thing that you heard was only God can make a tree. And here's where I would point out, no, she didn't. That poem is not in this book. But because he says this fucking line, he says one line, it still gets a special thanks to Joyce Kilmer Oates or whatever. Joyce Kilmer Oates? Yeah. In the end credits. Even though they don't read her poem. They say a single line of it. I know movies try to cover their ass and it pisses me off. It's like you don't need to acknowledge that someone wrote a poem with only God can make a tree. Never mind that I don't like that poem. This book I do own, and it has a lot of interesting poems. It has a lot of poems in it. My God. I don't have it with me, obviously. I said in this season I wasn't going to do research or bring out sources, but it would have been cool to have that book handy today. Just to, I don't know, enjoy some poetry. Like when I did Annihilation Minute, I started every episode with a poem. Some early episodes also ended with poems. Some episodes had poems in the middle. Every episode had a poem at the beginning. And those poems generally connected to the theme of that minute. If I was doing that with Groundhog Day, I could do that. I could probably do it with just poems from that book. Because I think there's more than 100 poems in there. Groundhog Day is 101 minutes, yeah.
So I looked in the actual book, taking a break from editing, and I believe it is 196 poems in this book, even though the book is quite small. Multiple poems per page.
She says, really, but she's asleep. She's falling asleep. And this will be a brief episode because I just really want to get to the next one. Because I'm going to record minute 74 right after this. And minute 74 is sweet. It is, well, we'll talk about it next episode, of course. But it's Phil's little monologue to her while she's sleeping. And I kind of always loved it. But he has to get there first. And he gets there by having one last inappropriate humor. He gets there by, maybe he's making a joke. He knows that poem isn't in this book. Why was this line of dialogue in here? I think I wrote a whole blog entry talking about this line and why it's here. Because does Phil believe only God can make a tree? Does Phil blame God for his circumstance? Does Phil think he's being punished? I know there's people who, not just the time loop day count truthers that I don't like, but there's a lot of people who are like, who put Phil in the loop? Why is he in here? What is the outside force acting? And that's not the point of the story. But I understand the impulse to think about it. I understand that there are rabbis who think this is a fundamentally Jewish film. There's Buddhists who think this is a fundamentally Buddhist film. Christians who think it's fundamentally Christian. It's what I'd like to ask people about if I made my documentary. Go around the country and show this movie to people and ask them questions like that. What is this movie about? How does it fit with your personal worldview, your religious beliefs, your political beliefs? I think it's a fundamentally human story, which is why I like it, is that it isn't a science fiction story about a guy trying to get out of a time loop. It's not a rom-com where Phil is trying to just be a better person so he can get with Rita. The structure works around that, but that's just kind of fortunate structure and illusion. It's a mask the movie is wearing. The movie is, if it had to be any religious thing, I think it'd be Buddhist because of Harold Ramis. And I definitely think that's part of why he chose it, why he did what he did in his parts of the rewrites for the second revision, third revision, and fourth revision. And I think it connects a lot with the way he presents the film, is that Phil is becoming a better person by losing the worldly interests. What is music? Is music a shallow worldly interest? No. Is reading? He is making himself better after this. That's what the movie's about. And he has to be worthy of Rita's attention. It's not that he is seeking Rita's attention. He is, obviously, seeking Rita's attention, repeatedly. She's the one that we see on God Day, that he proves he's in the time loop and hangs out with. As far as we're told in the film, she's the only one he ever tells. I have argued that I think it would be the nice thing if he told Mary, the piano teacher, which is why she calls him her student. It would fit better. With the confusion there, like why would she brag about her student when he clearly had some skill before he came to her that day? The nice thing from his perspective would be to let her know that she has made him the piano player he is. Explain to her that I've already been to you 30 times or whatever, and here's where we are right now. And he starts playing, and then she has context to figure out how to help him be even better and help him prepare for that night at the banquet. How does he get the gig in the first place, though? I guess if Mary was the thing, maybe he's just because she jumps up on stage when he takes a break. He's just giving her a break because she knows he's good, so she gets him in there. Anyway, as Rita falls asleep and Phil gets out from under her head and starts to situate himself on the pillow, he's getting away from her. He's doing the good thing. And he's going to position on the pillow next to her to fall asleep. But first he's got a little monologue, but we'll get to that next episode. Until then, go read some poetry, man. Or go do something poetic. Maybe that's more important. Go write something, maybe. And I don't mean literally poetry, I mean go do something that is poetic and beautiful. This world needs more of that.
Knew you were going to say that.
This has been a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drops Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
What is wrong in the end which never comes? Or which comes again and again, laughing, like waves.
Since the Big Bang set everything in motion, everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is. Particles unfolding the way they're destined to.
How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, Groundhog Day is not a documentary.
Remember when Groundhog Day was just a movie?